And on the 8th day, God looked down on his planned paradise and said, I need a caretaker. So God made a farmer. God said, I need somebody willing to get up before dawn, milk cows, work all day in the fields, milk cows again, eat supper, then go to town and stay past midnight at a meeting of the school board. So God made a farmer. God said, I need somebody willing to sit up all night with a newborn colt and watch it die, then dry his eyes and say, maybe next year. I need somebody who can shape an axe handle from a persimmon sprout, shoe a horse with a hunk of car tire, who can make harness out of hay, wire, feed sacks, and shoe scraps, who planting time and harvest season will finish his 40-hour week by Tuesday noon, and then pain in from tractor back, put in another 72 hours. So God made a farmer. God said, I need somebody strong enough to clear trees and heave bales, yet gentle enough to yean lambs and wean pigs and tend the pink-combed pullets, who will stop his mower for an hour to splint the broken leg of a meadowlark. So God made a farmer. It had to be somebody who'd plow deep and straight and not cut corners. Somebody to seed, weed, feed, breed, and rake and disc and plow and plant and tie the fleece and strain the milk. Somebody who'd bale a family together with the soft, strong bonds of sharing. Who would laugh and then sigh and then reply with smiling eyes when his son says that he wants to spend his life doing what Dad does. So God made a farmer.
German farmers, overregulation is the last thing we need. Hello everyone, welcome to Hive Mind. This is the speaker. I hope you're having a good day, and I hope you're all ready for Thanksgiving tomorrow. Should be fun catching up with your families, of course, unless you're both on different sides of the political fence. Then my advice to you would be not bring it up and try to just have some fun, because we have enough of this stuff pushing us away already in this political climate. So I posted this last night, and I woke up and pretty damn good response for it. Farmers from all over Germany drive to Berlin with over 5,000 tractors. It's the largest farmer protest in the history of Germany. If you haven't seen this video, it's pretty amazing. 5,000 tractors heading into Berlin. I can't imagine the traffic jam. I kind of feel sorry for a lot of people that are on there, but then again, obviously these guys are protesting for their livelihoods, and not just their livelihoods, but the livelihoods of food in Germany, because no farmers, no food, no future. Yeah, so this is very mesmerizing when you see protests like that. It's pretty great. So let's get into it a little bit, because I had a lot of people ask me why are they protesting, speaker, and honestly, I didn't really know. I just saw the video, so I thought I might as well educate myself, and I'll educate some of you guys too while we walk through it together, because I'm pretty new to this too. So let's go through this and let's find out what's going on. German farmers overregulation is the last thing we need. Farmers from across Germany have descended on Berlin to take part in a mass protest against the government's agricultural reform package that foresees reduction in the use of fertilizers, pesticides, and insecticides. There we go. Line after line, the area around the Brandenburg Gate in central Berlin was clogged up with tractors from all over Germany. Farmers had driven them into the capital days in advance to be more visible to the general public as their mass protest got underway on Tuesday in November. So Tuesday protest. So this is obviously affecting them really tremendously if they're protesting on a Tuesday. So these are all work days, and these are working people. So they are highly aware that they were causing traffic jams in downtown Berlin, but people needed to take notice and take an interest in why they were there, they argued. See, I don't like when protests and all that start interfering in other people's lives. But you know, is there a grey area? Is this protest that important for the country as a whole? So I don't know where your moral compass on that is, but it is what it is. We can't continue like this, as overregulation is the last thing we need, said an angry farmer from the Nornhold area near the German-Dutch border, who has taken the trouble to drive his tractor to Berlin in an 11-hour ride. I can't ride 11 hours in a car, so I don't even know what that feels like in a tractor. We are not willing to accept that those at the top want us to do without consulting us up front. I think that's fair enough. Those at the top are German Agricultural Minister Julia Klockner and Environmental Minister Savannah Schultz. I could have butchered both of them. These are German names, you gotta bear with me. They both presented an agricultural package in September saying that farmers would have to reduce their use of fertilizers, pesticides, and insecticides with the view of curbing the dying of insects. There we go. There it is. Insects are more important than your food. And reducing the nitrate content in the groundwater. That I can kind of understand depending how bad it is. Bad image. Yes, we've made mistakes in the past, no doubt about that, but we've learned from them. At least they're self-aware people. Uh, the pig and cattle farmer from near Nordhol told DW, but we're still the nation's scapegoat as a whole when it comes to the nitrate debate. He went on, we're not convinced that the measurements made recently are correct. I've got the impression that only the worst cases were reported, but all of us have been made to assume collective responsibility for a few sinners. So obviously there's a few farmers that are putting out more than they should, probably to help their crops or some way or another. But then again, like he's saying, um, they've become the scapegoat. So what happens to other industries that are doing this? Let's look at these multi-billion-dollar industry factories that are also contributing to this nitrate in the groundwater. Say from plastic plants, from metal plants to, but of course they're not going to get hit with it because the multi-billion-dollar industries probably have a lot of these ministers in their pockets, and probably have ties to a lot of these people anyway. So of course they're not going to get hit. It's always the small people. And that's the worst thing about it. We want to see honest research into where the nitrate content in the groundwater really comes from, said another farmer from Bavaria. I'm not saying that our fertilizers don't contribute to it, he conceded, but there are other causes as well. However, we farmers are the only ones targeted by the government, and that's unfair. Another two men from family farms in Oldenburg, some 470 kilometers, 292 miles away from Berlin, said they couldn't agree more. While everyone is targeting us farmers, there's little coverage about the desolate state many of the wastewater treatment plants are in. Well, there you go. Meaning a lot of nitrate reaches the groundwater every day and shouldn't really reach it at all. Less fertilizer, less yield. When we're supposed to reduce the use of fertilizers by 20% as the government wants us to, it means that our plants get 20% less nutrients every year, and they will have a corresponding impact on our yields and our incomes, said the farmer from Bavaria. I'd love my son to join our business, but if you can't live off it in the future, it doesn't make any sense to keep him interested, and that's true. If there's no money in the business, like I said, this is capitalistic societies. You can have joy in what you're doing, you can have fun in what you're doing, but if you put in so much work, you do deserve to get some money back from it, and there's nothing wrong with that. And if there's nothing in it, well, what's the incentive for them? They're not making anything. They're just providing a service for the people of their country and the state without, helping themselves in any way, and that's completely unfair. There was an argument among the farmers gathered in Berlin that agricultural subsidies will have to continue to flow to prevent any more farms from going bust. If prices for our products were a lot higher, we wouldn't need any subsidies, the farmers from Oldenburg told DW. But then there would also be a lot of price pressure from Eastern Europe and other nations, which also, because of the trade agreements, are making our lives hard with the cheap exports. We shouldn't really be talking about subsidies at all, said the farmer from Bavaria. I'd call them compensation payments for the cost we have as a result of high production standards. Without such payments, we would have a devastating disadvantage in the market, vis-a-vis nations where production standards are not nearly as high. There's a general feeling among the farmers here that the government has failed to consider their interests while trying to push through even more regulations. A mass protest in Berlin today really unites us uh, farmers, and is not organised by or related to any given agricultural lobby group. So this is like straight grassroots. It's pretty amazing to see how some of these grassroots movements just spring up and become so big so quickly. It's a pretty amazing thing to see. We appear as one unified group, and that will hopefully help us exert more pressure to the government to rethink its current policy. There is a few more articles that I will definitely link in the chat if you want to go in and if you want to read more about it. Um, it is an interesting case, and I think it's and I think this article here says it pretty well. Germany's farming protest for our future. Farmers feel like they are the scapegoats for mainstream society's woes. It's 100%. I mean, you've got Europe and all these. They're really at the forefront of this climate debacle insanity. And what they're doing is they're pushing out a lot of these industries, and a lot of their more important industries, exactly like farming. I mean, what's their agenda here? Is it to start making these food in labs, cheaper, of course, more profit for whatever company is running these science on foods, fake meats. It's yeah, it's a sad thing. Europe Europe when it comes to this bucket, and it's only going to get worse. Look, it's as soon as these climate protesters start getting their hands in all these different fields, a lot of people are going to really feel the hurt and the grunt of it. So I'll link these articles if you want to go in it more. I just thought I should touch on it a little bit because there are a lot of people asking me. Um, so yeah, like, subscribe, please. Have a good day tomorrow. Have some fun. Get off social media and enjoy some time with your family. I love you all. Stay ravenous, and I'll see you back after the holidays.